Hi guys, welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things, including news, business, politics. Most importantly right now, I'm just going to cut to the chase. Stimulus. Where does that come from? Sound off in the comments. Cut to the chase. Is that some type of like old English thing where like old white dudes on horses are chasing after like poor little foxes? Oh, it makes me sad. Why'd y'all start this video out being sad? Anyway, also y'all, it's still really cold. Still rocking them boots. I got my hat right over here, so we may just go all janky today. This may be jank number 2. Also, guys, I wanted to remind you, I'm giving away a gift card somewhere in today's video, so make sure and watch to the end to see if you won a $100 gift card. And if you want to be eligible, it is so simple. This is all you have to do. Like our video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. You are eligible. That's all you have to do. Make sure and do it for every video you see, because that makes you even more eligible, gives you more chances to win, and leave as many comments as you can. The more comments you win, the more chances you have to win, the more you are entered. Good luck. I want everybody to win, but I want to be in a house. So I want everybody to win who should win. You know what? No, screw it. Let's have everybody win and I just grow the channel super big. And you know what? Y'all can help me by commenting and liking and subscribing. So yay! We will do our best, but make sure and listen to the very end of each video today. Okay, guys. Stimulus, where are we at? Oh, also, Katie's Insight. Make sure and like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. It'll be changed to Katie's Insight soon. I'm waiting for Facebook to do the changes. You can go in there, ask all the stimulus questions you want. I'm gonna give you a warning, so just a heads up. I am super tired right now. It is towards the end of the day, and typically I'm pretty energetic. Like for being super tired, I'm still super energetic for most people. But I don't know about you guys, but like the weather, oh my gosh, it's gotten so cold and it's snowy and it's icing. It's more icing today. Oh my gosh, it's awful. I don't know about you guys, but whenever we have the big weather changes like that, I get exhausted that day. Typically it takes a day or two for me to even out. And like my whole thing is my body's just like sleep. It's like a switch that goes off. And so if I try to stay awake, I get a little bit of a headache, but that is okay because I love doing these videos and I want to do them for you guys. Also, thank you so much to all you wonderful people who sent me well wishes. The cold is over. It was just a quick little 48-hour cold. I just kind of giggly about it because like it wasn't that big a deal. But I thank you. But I felt bad because I'm like, you guys could have seen me all janked up today. All looking, I'm just stepping outside my trailer. No disrespect to people in trailers. We all got to go through stuff. Not everybody has a ton of money. And furthermore, the way we treat people on disability is abysmal. I'm just saying, I looked like trash, but that's okay. You're what most people consider trash. Typically, I don't care. I think most of us, when we become adults, we realize what's important and what's not important. And the way somebody looks at me, like, I'm sorry, I'm not here for your viewing pleasure. I'm not here for you to look at and get off to. And if that upsets you, I may not be the person you want to be around. I am not here to use for your enjoyment or your benefit. So that's how I look at it. Not that I don't like looking good. B likes to look good, but at the same time, why do it when I don't have to? I love to be comfortable. Sweatpants Nation. Okay. Oh, people were also asking about my shirt. First of all, before we begin, Purple Power. So I didn't realize I was repping Purple Power today. Make sure and show your Purple Power love in the comments. And people were asking about this. This is a sweater dress. I bought this a year ago. Okay, this is so sad, but like I've told you guys, I used to be super, super thin before I got sick, you know, like 4 years ago. And even though my goal is to get back to that, right? I'm not there yet, obviously. I got about 40 more pounds to go before that happens. And with all the things going on with stress is a big issue for me in terms of not losing weight. I could do everything correctly and by the book. And if I have stress, my cortisol goes up, my histamines go up, I'm screwed. So the last 2 or 3 months have been a little bit stalled, and that's okay. With everything going on, like I said, it's to be expected. Oh, but I bought this dress. This is like an extra small, which is why this is kind of suffocating me. Because it got my little double chin. I hate it. I didn't used to look like this. Y'all, I'll show you before and after pictures of me at 270. And it was all from being sick. Like I was eating vegetables and salads and getting sick and gaining weight. And it was like, what is happening? And it's just underlying health conditions. And that happens to people. But for people who are asking about this, thank you guys so much. Because I had so many comments. Let me go ahead and give you guys an update. This is from a place called AMI Clubwear. AMIClubwear.com. They have a lot of really cool stuff. Now, heads up, they also have some really skimpy stuff. That's typically not my jam. If it's your jam, do you, boo. I don't judge. I'm just letting people know if they go on there, they're like, what is this? But it's not all of it, but they have a lot of really cool stuff. I got this like a year ago though. So if you want to go find this, and I have one in orange. Thought I had it over here. I have it somewhere in orange. I just don't typically wear orange because on my white skin, it just shows up like puke. It just looks like what my dog doesn't want to eat afterward. So I typically don't wear a whole lot of orange. Like certain oranges, maybe like on the peach side, I really like. It's just my skin color. But you could probably find these if you go to, like I'm really big with e-commerce. Like I love e-commerce. I've been studying e-commerce for a while. It's something I'm going to get into at some point. Every time I put my toe in the water, it doesn't work lately. But when it comes to e-commerce, you can go to some really cheap, like, oh my gosh, what they call like wholesalers and distributors from China. So like dhgate.com, aliexpress.com, alibaba.com. If you look up sweater dresses or maybe like sweater dresses whole cutout or shoulderless, right? You might be able to find something and put in the color because they were from last year, but a lot of times those places will have stuff from several seasons ago. So I just want to give you guys a rundown because you guys were so sweet about where'd you get your shirt? So it's a sweater dress and that's where I got it from. Okay, yeah, and I got it. And by the way, I still do this. I'm like, I one day will look the way I used to because I know me. If I have the right trajectory, we know what's going on with me at some point, I will work to get my body there. So I'll still do this a lot of times, like when I'll find something I really like, an extra small, and I'll buy it or in like a 0 or 2, and I'm like, in a year from now. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's dive in. I'm sorry, that was a little bit of a long recourse, but I also kind of think a lot of times, unless it's super important, the videos I do at the end of the day, I'm just kind of chilling with you guys. So, but I do have some info to give you. Hold on. A half burp, a half hiccup. Ew, I hate those. I don't like it. Hold on, let me get my orange on. This stuff is so good. I'm so sad though, I got the soap and the soap isn't that good. Don't you hate when that happens? Like one will smell a little bit different than the other or the notes will come out in something different. Lord have mercy, I'm an actual grown up. Here I am talking about the notes of a smell and a candle. Okay, where are we at? So today, Mnuchin and Pelosi are meeting. They are supposed to be meeting today to go over stimulus and go over where we are at and what is going on. We haven't heard a whole lot of good rhetoric. In fact, I have a few people I want to go over. There's 4 in particular who spoke up today. We have Larry Kudlow. Steve Mnuchin did a phone interview as well. There is he's either a governor or a Congress. Honestly, I don't effing remember. I really don't, guys. I'm so tired. I don't remember who he is, but we have one guy from the Congress who's saying, kick them all out. Yes, Queen. I think we all feel that way. And then we're going to end with Andrew Yang basically saying, shame on y'all. But I want to go ahead and get into some of that. So let me pull up a little bit of information because we had been waiting to hear from somebody from, the White House, which we figured that we would. So, and this is from Barron's.com. It just goes over a little bit of what Kudlow said, like a paragraph. It says stimulus talks continued, but have slowed down, says Kudlow. White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow said Monday morning that negotiations for the stimulus have certainly slowed down. Kudlow's comment, which came in a CNBC interview, comes as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi awaits a response from Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin on a list of concerns she communicated to Mnuchin on Friday. Now, as far as Friday goes, everything as far as we were being told was at a standstill. Don't know if it's happening. Nobody knows what's going on. It's a mess. But it seems like, thankfully, the talks are starting to pick back up with Mnuchin and Pelosi meeting today. Now, Pelosi keeps kind of giving a more rosy view of everything. She kind of keeps saying like, we're there and we're ready to sign and everything's ready to go. But I caution if that's really what's happening or if that's what she's saying because she knows she got so much crap because she is the person that's in the way of any type of stimulus coming to the American people. And that's why she is kind of now coming with a more rosy outlook on situations. Because if you remember, go check it out yesterday. I had the video yesterday called Drunk Pelosi Again about her drunk interview where she was angry and ranting. And it was a horrible look for her. But she was just asked hard-hitting questions that any journalist should ask her. And unfortunately, I just feel like at this point in the game, she should be ashamed of herself, and she should be ashamed of where this situation is at because she should be doing more to help us, and she's not, which makes me and all of y'all, as I know, furious. And it should make us all extremely angry and furious. But this is where we're at with all of that right now. So today they're supposed to meet, they're supposed to talk. We haven't yet heard the outcome of that, but we did hear some from Mnuchin earlier today, and I do want to go over that before we go into Larry Kudlow, because Mnuchin put some stuff out there as well that to me is interesting. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up my notes. And by the way, I tried to get this interview because you guys know I like to pull up somebody and what they say one-on-one. In this situation, though, I couldn't because like they only have the interview on the CNBC website and it would not let me pull it. There are a lot of different times I can. It wouldn't let me. Hold on. I'm going to get irritated and it's cold chopstick. Oh my gosh. Y'all, when it gets cold, you guys get dry skin, dry lips too. You know what I hate the worst? When you get those little cracks right here and it takes like a week to heal and it hurts and they reopen because it's a mouth and you have to use it. What are those? Sound off in the comments. What are those tiny lip cracks? I need to look these things up. I'm too busy looking at stimulus to actually see what my body does and how it functions. Okay, so this is what happened with Mnuchin. So they said there are issues for Pelosi or a challenge for both sides is national testing strategy. Can you speak to what's happening here? The Democrats are asking for $75 billion. Republicans are asking for $45 billion, but I think there's more to this. Mnuchin, by the way, was so irritated during this interview. It was hilarious. He's like, no, that issue is getting overblown. We agreed to $178 billion for health overall. It's an extraordinary amount of money. He says, we agreed with Democrats for $75 billion. So he's saying that they're giving $178 billion. So this isn't that big a deal is what it sounds like. I don't think we'll need to spend all that money, but we are happy to take that money. Also, $28 billion is agreed for vaccine distribution so we can continue Project Warp Speed. We are focused on language of testing. We proposed a bipartisan bill to support in the Senate and the House to go forward with testing. When I speak to Pelosi today, we won't let the testing issue stand in the way. We will fundamentally agree with testing language on many issues. This issue is being overblown. We need to get money to people now, the ones most hurting. So, and I agree. I think a lot of us has agreed. In fact, we've had so many people speaking up and saying, pass something, something's better than nothing because now people are becoming homeless. Thank you, government. So on testing, the interviewer says, you said it's not a deal breaker. Would the administration be willing to do a testing standing bill alone? He says, I think we would combine that with the PPP, eidl, and airline bills. We wouldn't move forward with testing without getting money for small businesses, which they need. Virtually half of the private payroll on businesses for no fault of their own. We have a national testing strategy, and Mark Meadows has been huge in this. We have $150 billion now in tests, and we have them at $5 a test. It's incredibly economic. I think they called it Binex, I think. In nursing home schools, and we are getting them out. We signed a major contract with a 98% rating from the Mayo Clinic. And he says we have that is a 20-minute test. We're going to use this new contract in conjunction with the Binex now. We have a strategy, and that comment that we aren't doing testing is ridiculous. We funded manufacturing of seven different vaccines. So they're funding. What is going on with me? It's the end of the day. They're funding 7 different vaccines. I didn't know there were 7. I knew there were like 2 or 3 they were looking at. So he says, we still have money left for testing and vaccines. We would like more. The president has executed dramatic spending on vaccines and testing. And 60 days ago, this technology wasn't even there for a $5 rapid test. Okay, I can give that to him. That's fine. And so now, guys, I want to go into my curmudgeon, my boo-boo, I want to sit down and have a beer. I can't drink a beer. I'll do water. You do a beer. Larry Kudlow. And let's see what he's to say about all this, and then we'll go over it. Take a look.
I'm almost embarrassed to ask because at this point it just seems like tilting at windmills. My guess is we're not going to get anything done in the next month and potentially not for at least 3 or 4 months after that as you wait for the new Congress to be seated and for Inauguration Day. What do you think is really happening here?
Well, look, I don't want to make any predictions on this. The talks have certainly slowed down, but they're not ending. I mean, one thing I will say is the committee chairmen on both sides, Senate and House, have been meeting and discussing various aspects, the small business loans and many other issues, different appropriations. We'll get a report this morning. Secretary Mnuchin will be talking to them. I think he's going to be talking to Speaker Pelosi. The big issue here right now is we're close, but there's still important policy issues that separate us. And our team believes there have to be more compromises on the House side for us to get there. Becky, I don't want to be optimistic. I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm just kind of reporting where I think we are. Secretary Mnuchin will probably speak on it later today after he checks in with the Speaker and some of the committee chairmen and see if anything moves. But right now, unfortunately, the goalposts have moved. There's still some unanswered questions.
Hey, Larry, we had Governor Sununu on from New Hampshire earlier today, and he says that he'd like to see every member of Congress fired, all 535 of them, because the American people are suffering while this stimulus bill gets booted back and forth. He says, forget it. We'd be better off if we had brand new congressional representation all the way across the board because of this. I just want to ask, as an economist, what happens if we don't see anything done between now and, let's say, early February?
Well, look, you know my view that this is a strong V-shaped recovery. I mean, lots of new numbers have come in. The third quarter is going to be a very positive quarter, no question about that. And just recently, we've had big numbers on housing sales and home builder sentiment and retail sales and manufacturing. Inventories have to be rebuilt. Even continuing claims plunged 1 million last week. So, look, I think that the recovery, although there's a lot more work to do, let me be clear on that, especially on the employment side, nonetheless is proceeding probably faster than most folks thought. So I'll make that point. Second point is we've always argued, and you've heard me say this, I think, certain areas could be helped by a deal, okay? Particularly, let me repeat, I'd like to see unemployment assistance. You know, the president led with a executive order on unemployment assistance, the $300 plus $100 from the states. That's running out. So it would be a good thing. We put half the people have gone back to work. We didn't put them to work, but half of them gone back to work. I'd like to see some assistance on the unemployment side. I think the PPP small business would be extremely helpful. I think anything to do with helping schools open, COVID-19 related renovations, they need some help. The airlines need some help. In other words, there are specific targeted areas. We don't need a gigantic ideological political bill here. What we need is some targeted assistance area that would be a great help. That's been our view. So I don't want to predict where, when, how, and why, and so forth. They're still talking. But I acknowledge the clock is ticking. And of course, the big thing today is going to be Justice Barrett getting sworn in. I think she won't be sworn in, but I think she will pass the Senate.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
All right, notes. Here we go. So the interviewer says, my guess is we won't get anything done in the next month or 3 or 4 months after that as we wait for the new Congress to be seated and for Inauguration Day. Larry says, look, I don't want to make predictions on this. Talks have certainly slowed down, but they're not ending. Committee chairmen on both sides of the Senate and the House have been meeting and discussing various aspects, business loans, and other appropriations. We will get a report this morning. Mnuchin will be talking to them and Pelosi today. Big issue here, and we are close, but there are still important policy issues that separate us. Our team believes we have had more compromises on the House side to get there. I don't want to be optimistic or pessimistic. I'm just reporting where we are. Mnuchin will be on it today after his meeting with Chairman and Pelosi. Right now, the goalpost has moved. There's still unanswered questions. And if you heard from today, now Pelosi's saying, this is so frustrating. She's like, when they say the goalpost has moved, they're moving it, not us. They're projecting. And it's the opposite, from my opinion. They're so ridiculous. So then, interviewer says, we had a governor on who says he wants to get all the Congress fired. We're going to play that in just a second. Americans are suffering while the stimulus bill gets booted back and forth. He says we'll be better off if we had a brand new representation across the board. What happens if we don't see anything done between now and February? Larry says, well, look, you know my view is that we're in a strong V-shaped recovery. I'm sorry, but in what world are we? To me, that just downplays and insults the suffering of everybody going on right now. Lots of new numbers have come in. Third quarter is positive quarter. Just recently, we've had big numbers on housing sales, retail, home builders, manufacturing, inventories have to be rebuilt. Even continuing claims, he says, plunged 1 million last week. On the recovery, there is a lot more work to do on the employment side. It's going faster than folks thought. We've always argued that certain areas could be helped, particularly unemployment assistance. The president led with the executive order on unemployment help. That's running out. No, boo-boo, that's gone. That has been gone. That's not running out. That is done. And to me, again, that shows even from the White House's side, like Larry Kudlow, that shows the disconnect. Well, it's running out. No, it's nowhere to be found, y'all. So frustrating. So he says it's a good thing we put half those people back to work. He says, I'd like to see assistance on the unemployment side, PPP loans, school reopenings, airlines. There are specific targeted areas. We don't need a gigantic bill. We need targeted assistance that would be a great help. I don't want to say when and how and why. They are still talking, Mnuchin and Pelosi. But I acknowledge the clock is ticking. The big thing today is Justice Barrett getting sworn in. She will pass in the Senate. By the way, guys, I don't know if you know this, the Senate worked round the clock. And they actually did an all-night session. Oh, not on our behalf. Because of the Supreme Court justice. Not on our behalf. Why would you do it on our behalf? And I can hear people saying, well, the Supreme Court justice is on our behalf. Yeah, but most people don't care when they're homeless and winter is coming. By the way, I'm getting real tired of hearing the Democrats talk about the dark winter. Do some research on the phrase, the dark winter, because I don't trust it. I mean, I really don't trust almost anything at this point I'm told by any government official unless I see patterns that they aren't lying, which when do we do that? That is a difficult one to see anywhere. Goodness. So this is just really frustrating. And then the other thing too is, and this is where I'm having a hard time and I can see both sides. We have a lot of people saying get something done. People are struggling now, but that will also leave out a lot that needs help. But at this point, I think we don't have a choice. Get something done, get it done now. And we will argue about the other stuff later. People are going to die. And it's just like they don't care. They don't care. And I fully 1,000% don't understand this. I will never understand how these people can be so narcissistic and sociopathic. And I agree with this senator we're going to bring up in just a second. We need to kick them all. Sorry, governor. Kick them all out. All of them. And immediately stop their funds from coming in. Stop everything and make sure even their businesses around them, because remember, most of these people in the government, they had their hands caught in the cookie jar first with PPP loans for themselves, their spouses, their families. Stop it all and demand that money back. Like, I'm just getting more and more angry, guys, and I know you are too. But now I want to hear from this governor who apparently reamed everybody and said, get them all out. And I think almost all of us can agree. Let's listen.
Governor, when it comes to Congress, though, you've pretty much had it with both parties in terms of the stimulus talks and this continuing delays and nothing getting done, right? You're ready to throw all the bums out.
Fire them all. I mean, I really mean that sincerely. No one in the Senate or Congress can say that they've shown leadership on the COVID crisis. What have they done since March? Like literally nothing. They made a lot of promises, but they've literally done nothing. No leadership, no innovation, no challenging the system, right? They've kind of thrown their hands up and walked away from the whole thing. They said they were going to do some stimulus. They walked away. Look, I just say, put it this way. Would the country be better or worse off if you replaced all 535 of them today? I think the odds say would probably be a little bit better, right? Because you get the political nonsense out of the picture. You get all of that things that have just clogged the system up so badly. It's like you got a pipe that is so clogged, all the Drano in the world ain't going to clean it. You got to cut the pipe out and start again. And I think that's what you're going to see over the next few campaign cycles here. I think the people of America are sick and tired of nothing. You got to manage. You got to move the ball forward. You have to show leadership in some way. They've done virtually nothing. So I think we're going to get a stimulus package after the election, probably in early 21. I think if the Democrats are in there, it's going to be an astronomical amount of money. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, flexibility to the states. Trust us, as governors, we know what we're doing.
And my response, yes, Queen. Yes. Tell them that. Get them out. Get them out. Get these people out. Why are they still here? I think all of us can agree with that sentiment. Now, I do want to move on because we have one more thing to go over, and that is Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang has been speaking up. In fact, he has been really against Pelosi right now, as he should, and I'm glad he is. But he has super been against Pelosi and all of her BS games, and he is one of the people that has really come out and put her under pressure and under fire, as it should be, and I'm glad somebody is. So I want to go ahead and I want to look at that. I have my notes pulled up for Andrew Yang. So here we go with Yang.
Record numbers of Americans tested positive for coronavirus this weekend, and millions of Americans are simply out of work. According to the Washington Post, some 100,000 small businesses here in the United States permanently shuttered from March to May. No matter what metric you look at, it's so clear that so many Americans are suffering during this pandemic and desperately need help, and they need help right now. But talks over economic relief, they are clearly still gridlocked here in Washington. I'm joined now by former 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. Before I get to the stimulus talks, I want to get your quick reaction to the news that the Vice President Mike Pence will keep campaigning, even though he was in very close contact with 5 staffers who tested positive for COVID. Speaking for your experience in the primary, is campaigning, quote, essential work right now?
This unfortunately fits a pattern we've seen from this administration, Wolf, where if they are forced to balance preserving the health and safety of themselves, the public, their teams, or political campaigning, fundraising, and preserving this administration's hold on power, they tend to choose the latter, unfortunately. So it's disappointing, but not wholly surprising.
The CDC says he should be quarantining for at least 14 days right now, given the fact that he was in close proximity for so long with these 5 associates. Many people were hoping this administration learned a lesson and would change its approach to the coronavirus after the president was infected. But this seems to be playing out, Andrew, the same way as that first White House outbreak. Do you think this will actually drive away some of those remaining, I don't know how many there are, remaining undecided voters?
There are many Americans who are deeply concerned about how the coronavirus is being handled by this administration, and campaigning in the midst of it, having events where people are showing up that aren't properly socially distanced, or in some cases not wearing masks, fits a pattern that is turning off many, many voters. You're seeing it in some of the local media coverage that's following after these events take place, where a bunch of journalists are asking, was this event truly necessary and in the public's interest?
Let's discuss the stalled COVID relief talks. This is what we heard from the 2 sides earlier today. Watch this.
We've continued to make offer after offer after offer, and Nancy continues to move the goalposts. And as you know, we're up to $1.9 trillion. I personally have talked to the leader multiple times. I've talked to senators multiple times. And at the end of the day, it was the Democrats just last week who said that they weren't going to support a $500 billion deal. So they said no to some relief coming to Americans.
They keep moving the goalposts. They every time they say we move the goalposts, that means they're projecting what they did.
Andrew, as you know, millions of Americans are so desperate. They're out of work right now. So many of them, they can't pay the rent. They can't even buy enough food for their kids. Who should they blame for this impasse?
They should blame the dysfunction in Washington, Wolf, though I'm still cautiously optimistic that we're going to see a deal emerge in the next 9-10 days, in large part because the interests of the American people are so on the line. A study just came out that said that 1/3 of American workers have either lost their jobs or had to change jobs because of the pandemic, and that 25% of workers have had their wages go down. So in the face of that kind of overwhelming need, if you look at the politics involved, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats should be chomping at the bit to get a deal done for the sake of their constituents. And Donald Trump and Steve Mnuchin have signaled that they want a deal as well. So if a deal can be struck early this week, I believe it still has a chance to get relief into the hands of the American people during this window. If we miss this window before the election, we could be waiting until February, which would be devastating for millions of Americans.
If it doesn't happen before November 3rd, do you think it could happen during the lame duck session, irrespective of who's elected president?
The politics unfortunately shift in a way that make it less likely. Big bills seldom get done during lame duck sessions after an election. And if you look at the president's interest, his interest will be sky high to try and get relief or signal relief to his supporters before they come out and vote next Tuesday. But then after that day, do we really think Donald Trump is going to be as concerned with trying to get relief into people's hands? So this window is crucially important, really just the next several days early this week in order to get legislation pushed to the Senate while they're still in session before Election Day.
I know you're not involved in the negotiations, but do you think both sides, at least at this sensitive moment, are simply playing politics with this relief bill that is so desperately needed by so many millions and millions of Americans?
I heard today from a laid-off tour bus operator in New York. He's 64 years old. He doesn't have a job anymore, and he says, "Where is my stimulus check?" Those are the people that I'd be thinking of if I were on either side of this negotiation. And if it were me, I would look at that interest and say, look, this may not be the perfect deal, but we need to get a deal done before Election Day. And then to the extent that there are imperfections or problems, we can always come back together and pass a new bill in the new year. But people need relief right now, from that tour bus operator to millions, or former tour bus operator to millions of other Americans around the country.
There's so many suffering and desperate people out there right now. Andrew Yang, thanks so much for joining us.
So the interviewer says, so many Americans are suffering and desperately need help, and they need help now. Talks over economic relief are gridlocked. The 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang is here. Before stimulus talks, I want to get your reaction to Mike Pence's continued campaigning, even though he was in close contact with 5 staffers who tested positive for the virus. Speaking from experience, is campaigning essential work now? I think these are good questions. He says, this unfortunately fits a pattern from this administration. If they are forced to balance the health and safety of themselves or the public, or political campaigning for themselves and their groups, they will go with fundraising. He says they will preserve the administration's hold on power instead. They will always choose the latter. Unfortunately, it's disappointing, but not surprising. It's hard. I can see where he's coming from, and I don't blame him. I have a few thoughts on this. We're in an election year. How do you do it safely for anybody? But with this boom in the White House, I kind of agree. They shouldn't necessarily be out campaigning. But then at the same time, what do you do? My concern is I feel like there's a whole lot more going on than what we get to know and look at. And that's always the case. Let's be honest, it's always the case in most of these situations. But it concerns me. I have many concerns on both ends of that, but I can totally understand and agree with where he's coming from. So then, the interviewer says the CDC says he should be quarantining for 14 days, considering he was in close proximity with these people. Many people were hoping they would learn a lesson with the president getting the virus. This is playing out in the same way as the first White House outbreak. Do you think it'll drive away many undecided voters? Good question. He says many Americans are deeply concerned about how the virus is being handled with this administration. Campaigning at events who aren't socially distancing or wearing masks turns off many voters. We are seeing it in local media coverage that's following. After these events, journalists are asking, was this event truly necessary and in public interest? I don't know. I see a conflict of interest right there a little bit, and I'll kind of go over that for a second. So here's the discrepancy. Unfortunately, I'm not saying that people don't see the virus as an issue or to be concerned with, because we obviously do. I'm speaking from somebody in the middle who hates all of these people. But I think more than anything, what we're concerned about is, how do you fight a virus when you're homeless? How do you fight a virus when you can't get your immune system strong because you have no food or access to medicine? And I feel like, honestly, that's what more people are concerned about than the whole thing about the peacocking with the masks. And by the way, I'm not saying I'm anti-mask, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I am just trying to put it out there that I feel like more people are concerned with the fact that we can't be in our homes and it's winter. Places, this isn't there are places in Europe where they won't kick you out in the winter. There are laws and stuff. I lived in France and there were certain laws about that for landlords and tenants and things. So it gets really, really interesting over there. And we don't have anything like that here. We have nada. So I think more people are concerned with that. But then he goes into saying, he's like, well, the journalists are asking this at every event. Well, the journalists are going to be more concerned because they are at the events covering it. But then that's all. They don't have to do that. They are choosing to be there. I can hear people say, well, their work is sending them. Yeah, but they're still making that choice. So they're saying, well, I'm concerned. Yeah, but you put yourself in this position. So if there was no event, there'd be nothing for you to go to. I don't know. And on top of that, who believes a journalist at this point? Who actually gives any journalist credit, because they all are for big companies that just lie to us repeatedly? I'm sorry, I don't buy it. All those big news organizations, they squashed the Weinstein story months and years before it came out. And we're supposed to expect that any of them have our best interests? Get out of here. No. So, unstalled stimulus talks. This is what was said. So the interviewer says, we've continued to make an offer after Nancy continues to move the goalpost. We are up 1.9 trillion. I've asked Pelosi multiple times and senators. At the end of the day, it was Democrats who said they would not support that $500 billion deal that got rejected last week. They said no to some relief to Americans. And then they said, they keep moving the goalpost. Every time they say we did that, they are projecting what they did. So we had somebody from the White House, and then that last one was Pelosi, where she's like, they're projecting. No, girl, you are projecting. Get out of here. And then it says, so many are desperate, out of work, can't pay rent, no food for their children. Who should they blame for this? And this is what Yang says. Yang says, blame the dysfunction in Washington. I'm cautiously optimistic that we will see a deal emerge in the next 9 to 10 days because the interests of the American people are on the line. It says 1/3 of American workers lost their jobs and had to change them because of the pandemic. 25% of workers had wages go down. That's an overwhelming need. Politics involved. Pelosi and the Democrats should be chomping at the bit to get a deal done. Mnuchin and Trump have indicated they want a deal done. I think we can still get it at the beginning of the week. If we miss this window, we could be waiting until February. Boom. And I think that's what a lot of us are worried about, is that if this doesn't actually go through anytime soon, how much longer is this going to take? I could even see March, which is appalling and abysmal. But the other thing, and I know I've talked about this, and I've heard a few people talk about this, but not too many, is what I'm worried about is no matter who wins the outcome of the election, I'm worried about the outcome of the election, meaning I'm worried about the reactions from people, because it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And we've had more violence and more extremity on both sides over the last 4 years, because social media has really done a great job of dividing us, conquering us, and making us violent. Guys, remember, with the people at the top who are mean, they don't know what to do with us when we are loving and peaceful and laughing and happy. They know how to control us when it comes to violence. Keep all of this in mind, because that's how they get us. That's why I'm always saying, if you think that your party is better than the other ones, then you have lost the plot. Don't care what side you're on. That's how it looks to me. So then he says, the interviewer says, if it doesn't happen before the November 3rd election, it could happen during the lame duck session, no matter who the president is. He's asking if that's a possibility. So Yang says, with politics, unfortunately, it's shifted away to make it less likely. And I agree with him. Big bills seldom get done during lame duck sessions after the session. The president's interest will be sky high to get a relief or a single relief to his supporters before the vote next Tuesday. But after that vote, he won't be that concerned with getting help to the people. This window is crucial to get legislation to the Senate while they are in the Senate until Election Day. I agree. I agree with all of that. I would like to think that the president would want to get us help afterward, but at the same time, I don't know. You know, we would have to wait and see how he operates. I think that's a fair assessment. That's a fair concern. Absolutely. Then they say, are both sides just playing politics with this relief bill that is desperately needed? And Yang says, I heard today from a laid off tour bus operator who is 64 and he has no job. He says, where's my stimulus check? Those are the people I'd be thinking about on both sides. I'd say, look, this isn't a perfect deal, but we need something before the election day. And with imperfections and problems, we can pass a new bill in the new year. People need help right now. Former tour bus operators and millions of Americans. And I agree. And I love it. If you saw yesterday, go check out the Drunk Pelosi video where she's like, I would be bemused if I wasn't so sad that you think you know what my constituents need more than I do. Your constituents are on fire and homeless in California. Shut up! Who cares about the sun? Gabe, The Office. Anyway, that's how I'm looking at all of this. And at this point, I think we're all just wildly concerned for our health, our well-being, and our safety. And are we going to have homes here soon? It's very sad that this is the position that we are all in right now. But unfortunately, welcome to America 2020. And please remember, 2020 isn't over until the nice aliens land. Mean aliens, get out of here. We don't need you. We have too much stuff going on. Nice ones. I've got candles ready and lotion and a straightener if you need it. Because that's the whole thing. Aliens are going to come down here and they're just going to be like, I'm looking janky. I need to get myself beat. Then they can come to me. I mean, I can only help you straighten your hair, kind of. But look at all these things. You guys see these little hairs? Look, hold on, if I do this, there's little, can you see them? These little hairs like back here. What is that? They just break off. Is that because I'm old? Is that because I'm not doing it right? What is going on? Anyway, that's where we're at with stimulus today. And that's where we sit right now. If you guys like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, hit notifications so you can be notified daily what's coming in the pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Comment, sound off. I want to hear it all. And guys, please share this content with as many people as you can. People who are on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, waiting for stimulus checks, SBA loan and grant issues, bill issues, everything in between. I got tons of tools and tons of resources to help you on this channel during this difficult time. And I would love the opportunity to help as many people as possible. And guys, the more you like, subscribe, comment, hit notifications, share the content, the more the channel grows, the more things I can do to give back to you guys. For instance, I am giving away a $100 gift card somewhere in today's videos. Make sure and watch it, maybe at the end of this one. So watch until the very end. Very simple to be eligible. This is all you have to do. Like our video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. You're entered, you're eligible. You're eligible. That's all you have to do. Make sure and do it for every video you see because you can have more chances to win the more videos you do it. And new rule, the more comments you make, the more chances you have to win. So comment up these videos, blow up the comment section. Good luck to everyone. Also, add me on Facebook, Katie's Insight. Like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. Will be changed to Katie's Insight soon. Go in, share stimulus news, ask all the stimulus questions you want. We are all helping each other. It's one awesome little community. We would love to see you there. I think I'm going to announce a winner for the gift card. I think I will. Hold on, I have to look it up to make sure I have the right person. Yes, okay. So, the winner is, because they were picked earlier, just early, right before I started filming this video. Okay, guys, if you want to know the winner of the gift card, the winner is, drum roll, please. That's a raspberry. Hold on. That sounds like, do you guys remember that South Park episode? It was my favorite episode where they make fun of bikers and they have a bunch of bikers just running around the town going, like all this. That's what that reminds me of. Anyways, the winner is Nick V. Congratulations, you're the winner of a $100 gift card. Now to claim this is what you have to do. You have to email me at katiespointofview@gmail.com. Email me within 72 hours to claim your card, otherwise you forfeit it. It goes back in the pot for people who need it. Congratulations, very excited for you. If you need my email, it is in the description of the video. Okay guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this now and get ready for tomorrow. I'm taking a big snow nap. By the way, snow thunder and snow lightning, I think that happened earlier. I have some Googling to do later. Okay guys, lots of love, take care, blessings. Every time I end a day and every time I end these videos, I'm reminded of how incredibly blessed I am that you guys give me the opportunity to do just what I'm doing right now. I'm sending you guys so much love, so much awesomeness. I appreciate you so much. And until the next video, I'm gonna be here as much as I can to help you. Okay guys, take care, blessings. Mwah. Bye.